Hello, this is Wmpyr, here to talk about a Chinese hero, legend, historical figure named Huo Yuanjia. And as you can see, my sources is always important. This is Wikipedia. So because it's Wikipedia, it's online. I don't think this is the most accurate or the definitive historical source regarding this gentleman, but I don't think it's the most inaccurate either. I'm thinking it's somewhere in between. So, take it with a grain of salt. All right. So, you know, there's a ton of movies been made about this guy. Tons. Just go to like Netflix, Hulu, whatever, and there's lots and lots of movies. Cool movies. Some very modern. I've seen some of them. Even Bruce Lee's second movie. So the first one was called what? The Big Boss, which sometimes is called Fist of Fury. And then the second one was called The Chinese Connection, which sometimes called Fist of Fury. So it's a little tricky. But the second film, that one, the movie starts with Bruce Lee's character at a funeral of this guy right here, this legendary guy. So this guy was, they said, poisoned by the Japanese martial arts people, and was defeated in a duel and died. So Bruce Lee's character tries to take revenge, right? That's what the whole movie was about. And that movie, like the first movie that he did, The Big Boss, propelled him, or like it introduced him into the movie scene in Asia. Well, it was the second one that, like, my understanding that made him into a star. We're talking about Bruce Lee. So anyway, that there's a Bruce Lee connection, is what I'm trying to say with it, with this character, which is awesome. Now let me scroll a little bit so you guys can see. All right. Now, what is super interesting here is that, like I said, the movies, I really dislike how the movies change stuff so much. And you don't have to do much to look up some stuff. And, like, for instance, right here, Wikipedia, not the greatest um, source, but still better than nothing. And I would say way more accurate than probably any of the movies made about this guy. So to me, that's unfortunate. I really wish they would stop doing that. So my understanding, without really knowing Chinese history, was this guy was in China at a time where the Chinese empires, so the way they lived back then, that old style was coming to an end. And I could relate to that because I never studied Chinese history, but I studied Japanese history. And Japan had the same thing where they had to um, like accept and change and evolve into the modern, more modern and Western civilizations. Until then, Japan, we had like samurais running around, and that kind of lifestyle, very medieval Japan. So I think China also had the same kind of situation going on, where this massive empires. It was just like the fall of the Roman empires, is what I'm assuming, that the Roman Empire just ran its course. So kind of the same thing here. Now historians may go, no, that's not what happened. There's a lot more, but I just think the Chinese Empire it was time. It had so much corruption. It just ran its course. Okay, so there were magnificent times where it was incredible civilization, but it was now ready to change into the modern era. And when that happened, um, foreign powers came in, including Japan, but other countries too came in to reap the benefits. They were there to take whatever they could take, because the empire is falling apart, and they're like, we're going to take advantage of this. I think is was the idea. which I'm not saying is a positive thing, but I think that is what happened. You had this massive empire that's crumbling, and now foreign empires came in and they want to dictate, they want to influence, and change it to their, how do you call it, to their benefit. It's almost like chess, and I think to be in the world powers, you had to do it. And I'm not defending these bad actions. I'm just saying if you didn't do it, you're gonna fall short, and then you'll be one of the countries that's going to be taken advantage of. So some of these other countries went in and try to do that. In these movies, I feel like this is important that I'm mentioning this because a lot of times they make it look like the foreign empires they caused the demise of the Chinese empires, and I don't think so. The Chinese empire kind of like fell apart mostly on its own, is what I'm saying. Okay. Now, I'm not a historian, so I don't know, but that's just my guess. Now, the next part is in regards to a lot of the martial artists in China at the time. I think a lot of them started getting ready to leave China because they didn't like this change. And some of them, or should I say a lot of them, left to Taiwan, is my understanding. But then there's other ones that you already have a massive reputation, establishment, and stuff like that. You can't just leave that behind. So I can understand some stayed, but I think a lot left, right? And maybe that was more later on when the socialist communism movement came in. More of that happened, but I believe maybe some of that kind of like leaving China or moving away from it could have already been happening at this time. Is my speculation. Now, once again, I'm not a historian. I'm not very I'm not very knowledgeable about Chinese history. So just my guess. So please take it as a grain of salt. Now, according to this, right, this guy was what's interesting. The style, martial arts style, says wushu and mizongji. Mizongji is something I don't really hear about. Now, I believe it said in here that it was something perhaps a little similar to long fist style, which I'm really not familiar with kung fu stuff. Just a little bit of cross training, so at least I have that, but it's really not my specialty. And so the image, he's been portrayed many different ways by many different actors in movies. The ones that I like is where he's kind of like not super political, and he's like, I just want to fight. That kind of more tough dude. I kind of see him more that way, and the ones where he's like very very political and speaking about China needs to be this way and that way. I don't know. I just don't really see him that way. But I could be wrong. We need a time machine to find that out. But he just seemed like a guy that he likes to fight. It almost seemed like, and him being. It says that he was born weak. He had asthma, right? And here, look, you guys can see right there. He had asthma, and at an early age, he contracted jaundice, which would recur periodically for the rest of his life. Now, I asked myself, me being severely asthmatic, can a person with asthma be a good fighter? And I did a little bit of fighting challenge matches in my heyday. And this is nothing professional, not at a professional level. I'm just not at that level. But I was able to, to be the big fish in a small pond. And Boss Rutan is one of the famous guys, who went to a world class level, professional level, and dominated and became UFC champion. And he says, I believe for the UFC champion, when he won that belt, even at that time, he was using the asthma spray. So I believe it's possible. So I just want to say that. The next thing is this is part of what makes him have to get treated. And so and okay, so before I get to that, and that's important because of his, his death that is oftentimes in movies shown. But okay, so we're gonna keep going here, and then it talks about right here this Russian wrestler guy. All right, um, it says that this Russian wrestler called Chinese the sick men of Asia. Okay, so in the movies it's Japan. Japan does that, but here they're saying no, it's a Russian wrestler. So it's nice. I guess in the movies it's convenient to just paint the Japanese as a complete bad guy, evil, evil people. But that's not. It seems like historically that's not what it was. Now, did the Japanese do horrible things to the Chinese during this time? I believe so. I would not doubt it, to show dominance, and I'm not justifying any of it, and yes, I am Japanese, so, you might think, oh, he's going to be biased. Humans do horrible things to each other, which is really, really sad, and there is no excuse for that. So I am not denying that, but right here, if you go by this, it says it was the wrestler that said that, okay? And in it basically says that the wrestler, once confronted, he said, dude, this is all marketing. And they never fought. They never fought. But the fact that he even went up to the wrestler and said, I'll take your challenge match, tells me that he was a tough dude. This dude was a scrapper, that he was confident and he liked to fight. And that's why I get the mentality that I believe that he was more that kind of guy than a really, really historical kind of dude. Not historical, political kind of dude. And then the next thing coming in here is the Chinwoo Athletic Association, which is even mentioned in the Bruce Lee movie. So right here, this is super important. Okay, it says that he was seeing a Japanese physician for medication and treatment. Okay, that is super important. And remember, I said that he was born weak and had the sickness, illness, and all that. So that is super, super important. Now, do I think he needed to go to a Japanese physician? I don't think so. I don't think he needed to go, but this Japanese physician he thought would help him, and if he didn't, I don't think he would have gone to the guy. So, and I think that's where speculation occurs, where people looking at this go, wait a minute, why did he go to a Japanese physician? They're the enemy. So this Japanese physician must have given him poison. So this is where the conspiracy starts, But remember, I mean, I'm thinking, how could he not go out of his own will? Right? He went to go see the guy. And if he felt like something was weird or if he didn't trust the dude, you think he would stop going, right? So, and the first person that's going to be maybe be a suspect is the Japanese physician. So it would be really dumb for that guy also to be the guy poisoning him. Once again, we don't know. We don't have a time machine. We don't know the details, but it just, I don't think this guy, the Japanese physician, poisoned him. It could be. I really don't know. Maybe he got tricked. Who knows? Or when he wasn't looking, someone put poison into the medication for Mr. Huo. I don't know. But right here it says they invited competition hearing his fame, and Huo's student competed with a judo practitioner. Okay, so not Huo himself, but his student. Okay, so Huo's student, and always it's a karate organization. It's kung fu versus karate is what they show in the movies, but here they're saying A, it wasn't even him that fought, it was his student, and B, it wasn't karate, it was judo. So, I really, really dislike how the movies get it totally wrong, or they purposely change the truth. Not a big fan of that. But it turned into a brawl. Isn't that crazy? That's pretty wild. Okay. Um, so anyway, another thing that they mentioned here was that right here, between 1909 and 1910, he went to Shanghai twice to accept an open challenge posed by an Irish boxer. And then this is where we don't know. Did they really fight or did they not? Right? So, from my understanding, he had one fight, if it happened, against a foreigner, and it was against an Irish boxer. So he didn't fight the wrestler, and there was no karate people that he fought. So he only fought one for. I don't know how many other kung fu people he fought, like Chinese people. Did he fought against kung fu people? Nothing is mentioned in this, so I don't know. But right here, so I would, okay, this is my guess. Okay, so this is just trying to be real about it, realistic, which is not as flamboyant as Hollywood. So the guy challenged this Russian wrestler who was insulting Chinese people, but it was really just a marketing thing. So he says, "I'm not going to take that. You and me, let's go." And just because he accepted, he became famous and known as this tough guy. And the public the public is always, sad to say, not, we don't make the smartest decisions. So just based on the fact that he took the challenge, we go, this guy's our hero, this guy's tough as nails, but we haven't seen anything that really proves that he's tough as nails and he can fight, right? So we just automatically assume that. The one with the Irish boxer, we really don't know. And then I'm not saying he's not legit. I'm just saying that the movies greatly change and exaggerate. This guy could be awesome, which I'm not doubting. I'm just saying what the movies show is so full of it that I'm kind of sick and tired of it, Um, okay, back to the judo match. So yeah, I'm assuming it was some kind of judo match. So it's a grappling only match is what I'm imagining. So it wasn't even a full contact, let's fight with punches and kicks, MMA style. I don't even think so, Or let's fight no rules. I really doubt it, no holds barred. I believe it was a grappling only match. Okay. So all this and to me it's still all this, even there's lots of gold there, and I wish movies would change that and go, no, 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 movies are for fantasy. So why would you make it super accurate like a documentary? I think you could still make it interesting. Keep it real and still make it interesting. I really believe that. But anyway, so here they're going into his death, and this has a very objective view and does not support the conspiracy theory that the Japanese physician killed him, poisoned him to death. They say no. So, you know, um, yeah, and here it is. You can see they mentioned the Bruce Lee. They also the Jet Li film, which my understanding was not that well received. The Jet Li version, um, and yeah, you have these other. I believe I've seen some of these other, like the 2001 and 2008 movies. Huo Yuanjia. I believe I saw this one, the 2001, and I could have seen also this one, the 2008 version. But anyway, it's a fascinating figure, and I wish we had footage of him teaching, training, um, I want to know more about him, more about like his ideas and stuff. And one last thing, super super interesting before I cut this off, is he around the time that this guy was in China existing. That was also around the time Captain Fairbairn was over there, because Captain Fairbairn, here, let me Captain Fairbairn, as you guys can see right here, there he is. Um, he joined the Shanghai Municipal Police in 1907, right? And um, Mr. Huo, let's see, when did he challenge? Okay, so between 1909 and 1910, that's when he went to Shanghai twice to accept an open challenge posed by an Irish boxer. So that's awesome. I wonder if they had cross trained, like if Mr. Huo had taught Captain Fairbairn, that would have been amazing, amazing to have seen. Or maybe Captain Fairbairn learned from some of his students. Um, that would have been super super cool. But anyway, that's it for now. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.